Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob. And let's get you some morning news in the nighttime. In the middle of the night.
Monday morning news in the nighttime?
I have no idea.
I believe they call that Monday night news. Call me crazy.
You're crazy.
I know I am, but it's a whole separate issue. It's a Monday night news is what it is. So, but yeah, we got some news to go over here with you guys, and it's a nice change of pace from all the news that I've gotten the last couple of days. I don't know about y'all, but my feed on everything single social media is Ozzy. Maybe just I just like Ozzy's music, but you know he retired, of course, this weekend officially. He had his last concert ever. So
playing Paranoid, saying "Let's go."
Yeah, did you see him doing the "Mama, I'm Coming Home" version?
I did not.
Dude, that was like, whoa. That was like that was seriously like it was almost like, you know, when what's his name? Johnny Cash did Hurt, that 9 Inch Nails song right before he died.
Yep.
It was like that. It was like that kind of powerfulness to his voice and everything. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I did hear that.
So but let's get to the Giants news here. We got tons of news to go over with you, as Jay says, Aussie or Ozzy. Ozzy. Not Aussie. We're not talking about fast food grills and Outback.
Kangaroos.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, guys, we got a lot of news to go over here with you guys. As we got to talk about all the latest and greatest things they're talking about here with the Giants and some interesting news articles. Listen, this is the time of the year again. We've said all along. This is the time of the year. People are looking for things to talk about. So therefore, they're just making up stuff out of the tuchus, basically, to put it nicely. Now, sometimes it's actually entertaining stuff they find. Sometimes it's BS and just hoopla. So we're trying to sift through the BS and hoopla and find the entertaining and interesting here for you guys. So, and some of this stuff, like I said, is stuff that you don't necessarily think about on a regular basis. Like, for example, whoever would create a list of like the best people to be drafted at every single position ever, pick 1 to 262. I'll tell you who. ESPN's Ben Solak did. And you'd be surprised. The Giants actually had a decent amount of players on this year. So, you know, Giants, obviously, we get a lot of slack for being not the best, you know, drafters overall. Not the best, obviously, with some of the recent, that's for damn sure. Besides last year, I haven't had the best, 15-year streak, it feels like. But we have had a good amount. Now, number 2 overall is an obvious one. The best number 2 overall pick in the history of the NFL draft. LT, Lawrence Taylor, 1981. Solak said the best defensive player of all time is also the best second overall pick of all time. Taylor is one of 2 defensive players to ever win league MVP in 1986, joining defensive tackle Alan Page in 1971. And that rarefied air all but cements him over contenders such as Marshall Faulk, Julius Peppers, and Calvin Johnson. Modern contenders such as Von Miller, Saquon Barkley, and Nick Bosa are excellent in their time, but don't hand a candle to LT, who finishes with his 13-year career with 142 sacks. Now, I got to say this. I love this part of it. Maybe it's just listen, I don't hate the guy, but I got a little bit of sourness towards him still to a certain degree because of who he plays for now. I like how they just kind of slipped in that Saquon Barkley thing.
Yeah. I was about to say, very, very, subtly,
Saquon Barkley can't hold a candle to Lawrence Taylor. Can't hold a candle. First off, what does that phrase even mean? Like, who do it? I feel like that's probably some old-timey, England phrase or something like that. But who was like, oh, my God, you can't even hold a candle to that thing. Like what is it? Difficult to see? Like, you can't get the candle next to it? Like, what does that even mean? Yes. I will Google that one day when I'm bored. And probably 1 or 2 people may also Google it now because of us. You're welcome. You learned something potentially today. So, number 40 overall, another great sack artist of the Giants, Michael Strahan. That was back in 1993. So, like I said, the little 8-year-old Eagles fan in me, which I didn't realize he was an Eagle fan. He says, it hurt me to even repeat that phrase. He says, still resents Strahan, who terrorized Dominic McNabb and my beloved Birds for years. I really wanted to pick Thurman Thomas here, an MVP winner at running back whose number is retired in Buffalo. But Strahan's 22.5 sack season in 2001, his final season performance in the Giants' magical Super Bowl run, is just too tough to argue against. Yeah, I don't disagree at all. Ison, no disrespect to Thurman Thomas, but yeah, he's right. I mean, you're talking about a guy who holds NFL records. So as great as Thurman Thomas was, you don't even include Thurman Thomas in like your all-time greatest running backs of all time. Like if you're making like a top 10 list, he's probably not there. Yeah. So let's see. Jay says the phrase's origin is rooted in the idea of an apprentice holding a candle for a master craftsman. The apprentice's role was essential but basic, highlighting the vast difference in skill level. I'm not sure that's real or not. He says it's AI, kind of like your video descriptions. Means it can't be trusted.
Well, you know, if your apprentice is someone that's high level guy won't take on an apprentice that he doesn't think can succeed or follow in his footsteps. So I guess you can't hold a candle to it. Means I won't train you.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, that part.
Sounds
but
good.
It makes sense. That's for sure. Let's see here. You know what? We're talking about it enough here. We're going to do it. Yeah, it actually, according to what I'm seeing here, is that.
Is that AI?
No, this is not. I went out of AI to see. That's what it was. Apparently, it used to hold the candle for the skilled person to go ahead and look better at things. And if you are really bad as an apprentice, you're said that you couldn't even hold a candle to that person, apparently. So, okay, there we go. See, we learned something today. And you guys didn't have to look it up yourselves like we suggested.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 56, O.C. Umenyiora. Back in 2003, Ben Solak said Umenyiora wasn't consistently dominant, but his peaks made him the pick at 56. In the 2007 Super Bowl season, Umenyiora was quieter in the postseason, but excellent in the regular season with 13 sacks and a Pro Bowl. In the 2011 Super Bowl season, he was quieter in the regular season, but dominant in the playoffs, 3.5 sacks over 4 games. Key roles in big seasons can make the difference in this exercise. So, yeah, that's interesting. So we got 3 within the top 56. Now, keep in mind, again, there's 32 teams in the league. That means we should, on average, have not even 2 necessarily, almost 2. We're already at 3. That's pretty good. The rest of them, I didn't give descriptions for every single one of them, but here, they should for this guy here. Number 105, Harry Carson, back in 1976. Absolute freak of nature, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever put on the Giants uniform there. Number 106, David Deal, back in 2003. He did give a little thing. He said Deal and Umenyiora in the same draft, which, yeah. Number 2007, Jesse Armstead, back in 1993. And, guys, this is somebody I've said forever. I feel like the younger generation doesn't realize how good a player he was. Like, I feel like time has not been kind to his legacy, so to speak, there. I mean, listen, Harry Carson, you can say that to a certain degree too, because like our generation, like Rob and I, we didn't necessarily grow up in the heyday of him. Like we were in diapers. We didn't get a chance to really see that kind of thing. But we know the legend from, our parents' generation. So maybe like our generation didn't teach the next generation well enough on Armstead. It's on us. Like most things, we messed it up. Like Applebee's and china cabinets. We messed it up. 211. David Tyree, back in 2003. So yeah, interesting. I mean, that's 3 Giants, by the way, in that same draft class of 2003 there with David Deal and OCU Manura. But let's be honest, the helmet catch is the whole reason why. That's what it boils down to, the helmet catch. That one play made him the best ever. And number 221, Billy Ard back in 1981. That's got to be difficult when you do this kind of exercise. Like, let's see, who was the best player at pick 243? Like,
as I'm saying, like, you're really reaching out there. And listen, when you're drafted at 211, you go back to Tyree. Like, when you draft at 211, how many of those guys go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And do anything. So, yeah, if you're picked at 211 and you have the play that makes your team, part of the play that makes your team in that winning drive, stay in that drive, yeah, you did enough to solidify that.
I mean, and he was a starting, Billy Ard was a starting left guard for us back in 86 as well for the Super Bowl run and all. So, I mean, he got something there. That's pretty good to get out of that kind of, pick. 148 games, 123 starts overall in 11 years. That's a good career for anybody, let alone a pick 221. That's crazy. Yeah. Jay asked, were both of your parents Giants fans? Both of their fathers were, that's for sure. I know my mother couldn't have cared less about football personally.
Yeah, not really, but my mom was from the Sacramento area, so she rooted for the 49ers, if anything.
Yeah, that would make sense. My mom's from Georgia, but she didn't like it.
She didn't really watch football. She bartended, so she would 49ers.
There you go.
Yeah. Joe Montana.
Joe Montana. She says Tyree had those gay slurs probably slipped under the rug. I didn't hear about that. That's kind of crazy that happened.
That's why it was quietly.
Apparently, it was quietly slipped under the rug. I didn't hear about it because that's not cool. That's for sure. He says, I grew up in Norcal. Everyone is 49er fans here. Yeah, that's right. You're with the West Coast guy. All right, let's get into our next bit of news here. So we got to talk about Jay's favorite guy here. So, is Russell Wilson now part of Marvel? Craziness, guys. So, those who are in the comic book world may have realized that Russell Wilson, along with his wife Ciara, were over at the red carpet for the new Ironheart show that came out on Disney Plus. Not often I can combine my nerd culture stuff and my sports stuff into one. I'm like, yes, finally, this is the moment. So this is coming off of Pro Football Network. They said Wilson has generated a whopping $365,362,520 from his NFL career, which, first off, why that stat's given, I don't know, but damn. But he says, but he's also getting a fortune off the field. Wilson launched his first clothing line, Good Man brand, in 2016 before teaming up with his wife, Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter Ciara, for his signature clothing line, 3 brand. A little over 4 years after the launch, the brand has now made its big screen debut in Marvel's Ironheart, and the couple can't hide their happiness over achieving this significant milestone. Wilson shared his happiness over the milestone achievement in an Instagram post and wrote, "Marvel baby at 3 brand, making our debut on the big screen. Grateful to be in episode 1, #Ironheart on @Disney Plus, #Inspire." Now, I'm going to say this. We apparently need sports people to understand media terms, because Ironheart is on TV, guys. That's the small screen. The big screen is the movies.
Yeah, the silver screen.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. When they say big screen, small screen, that's what they mean. So yeah, it's on the small screen. Not to belittle what he did. Kudos to him. It's kind of a cool thing there. I can't say I really go. I'm not the guy who watches TV. She's like, "Ooh, that shirt's nice. Where can I pick up that?" But I'm sure it probably gives him some kind of a boost to his stuff.
100%. Because if you're into that show and you're like, "Oh, I really like the way that guy's dressed," or whatever.
Yeah.
And you look into it oh.
Yeah, I'm not the audience for that. Let's be honest. You guys see me. I wear a random T-shirt and a Giants hat all day long. I mean, seriously, it's not and it's 5 or 6 rotating shirts even. It's not,
yeah.
And Rob's not the guy. He wears a Hawaiian flowery shirt over here.
And it was raining today.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're not the audience, obviously. But, kudos to him. That's pretty cool. And let's be honest here. he's at the point of his career where every single year could be his last. Like that's where he's at, legitimately. I'm not trying to wish anything bad, or good about him, but it's just, it is what it is. That's where he's at in his career. So, it's good for him to have something he can rely on afterwards, not just for the money part. He's got enough money, like they said, $305 million in his career. He should be fine. It's like a third of $1 billion almost. He should be fine. But you need something to do in life. Like, think about it, when you retire, you're like not even 40 in most cases. Like, you need something. So that's cool for him to get something. Curious if he ends up his stuff in more Marvel shows and movies and all that kind of stuff. That's what happens. Once you get in the door once, you're like in.
Yeah, you got to make sure it's across the multiverse.
Yeah. And it's also like, it's cool for Marvel because now you got like us, for example, now it's a football show now talking about Marvel, which we wouldn't usually talk about. Though I will say, did you watch the Ironheart show?
Not yet.
So I watched it. I'm going to give you guys a fair warning. The first 3 episodes, good. The last 3 episodes, because they released it in 2 steps, so those that are unaware. Last 3 episodes were amazing. Like, really good. Tied everything down pretty good there at that point. Plus, I'm not going to say what role he plays, but Sacha Baron Cohen, Borat himself, is in the show. So,
all right.
Yes, he doesn't do that accent though, but it's an interesting role. I won't give too much away. A very good role at that. So like I said, I definitely recommend the watch. But like I said, kudos to Russell Wilson, who I see Jay calling him Thanos. I like that he's using Thanos. We got other nerd references going on there. He's not Thanos, but yeah, I get it. You don't like it.
After poking fun for being nerds.
Yeah. And Jay says, yeah, I was thinking about picking up a Hawaiian shirt like Rob. He says, if Iger, a job washing dishes at cheap Hawaii takeout place. What? If Iger, what? Is that a Bob Iger? I think he's the CEO of Disney. I'm not understanding.
Yeah.
You lost us, Jay. You lost us. Let's get on to the next bit of news, though, here. One of the fun things I think that a lot of people enjoy doing, it's like one of those conversations. Like, people can't help themselves. And people love to go, who's on the Mount Rushmore for blank? Like, that's like a thing that fans of every team, people that are just talking about the greatest of anything, just love to sit there and talk about. So there's an article came out, the Giants Mount Rushmore, talking about the top Giants of the last 25 years, though, specifically. And they did it for every team, not just the Giants, I should clarify. This is done a Bleacher Report. Now, we gave you a picture, so you might know already who's on the list based on the picture if you're watching video-wise here. But the pictures also are a little bit off because I did have AI created because I thought it'd be kind of cool to have an actual Mount Rushmore picture for the thumbnail. But it was an interesting selections, I thought, on one specifically, which I'll get to in a minute. Let me read you what they had for verse. He said, the New York Giants didn't have a 2000s dynasty like the Patriots, but they won 2 Super Bowls over New England and had one of the easier Mount Rushmores to construct. Players like David Deal, Justin Tuck, Amani Toomer, and Victor Cruz were notable, but New York had 4 legitimate headliners. So they gave Tiki Barber. That's an obvious one. I think that's pretty,
Yeah.
Eli Manning. Yeah, number 1 spot easily. That's not even a question mark. Chris Snee. Get it. Really good player. And then defensive end, Michael Strahan. Again, can't argue with that. The only one that I'm going to argue with a little bit, only one, is someone got snubbed here that I think really deserves a spot. And that's Tom Coughlin. And I don't know if you want to talk about just players only, and that's maybe the issue here.
That's probably the issue. Is probably just the players here.
But if we're including a Mount Rushmore of the 4 most influential Giants, he's still part of the team. Tom Coughlin. I mean, granted, it's still all in the family since Chris Snee is his son-in-law. But
touché.
I'm just saying, like, no disrespect to Snee. Like, he's number 5 on that list, and there's only 4 spots. And he probably narrowly beats out guys like OC and Tuck and people like that. But I gotta put Coughlin in there. Like, the guy literally was the head coach for 2 Super Bowls. The guy, like, I mean, people forget sometimes how bad this team was for a good stretch. Like Jim Fossil had a little bit of a run with Kerry Collins right at the turn of the millennium, so to speak there.
Yeah.
But that didn't last long, guys. It wasn't like we went to the Super Bowl in 2000 and all of a sudden we're great for like 10 years. Like, we got the number 1 overall pick in a trade, yes. But we only had to trade down from 3. You guys know what that's like. We've done a lot of that lately.
Exactly.
Picking top 3. That seems to be a thing now. And then you go back to the pre-Kerry Collins there, and you go into the days of like Dave Brown and Kent Graham and Danny Cannell and guys like that. Like, the Giants were not a great team, guys, for many years. Again, kind of like right now. And this is the guy that came in and turned it around. This is the guy who literally brought stability to the franchise. He deserved a spot on that Mount Rushmore.
And I mean, you could argue really haven't had it since he left.
You not only can argue, you can just flat out say it. I mean, you've seen the difference since he's left this team. And I think that he deserves a lot of credit for what he did. Let's see here. Jay says the only game he remembers when we beat the undefeated Broncos in the 90s. Yeah, that was 98, I want to say. Was that 98? 97? It's late 90s. It was late 90s. But again, that's why I think Tiki, yes, 100%. Greatest running back to ever wear a Giants uniform. Eli, 100%. Greatest Giant of that time period. Mostly because he was a quarterback and you get the little positional value there. Strahan, number 2. Easily. Chris Snee, again, no disrespect, but I really think that Coughlin should have gone ahead and taken that spot. So, but overall, not too bad. Not too bad. All right. Let's talk about topic that I know Jay was talking about. He wants to talk about it. JPP back in the news again. This guy just will not go away. He's like the defensive version of OBJ.
He's like that.
What is it about 3 letters and not wanting to leave the Giants alone? Right. Like, we got OBJ and JPP all just nonstop trying to come back to the Giants. Now, this time JPP was talking to ESPN. It was the 10th anniversary when Jason Pierre-Paul had his lovely little fireworks incident this past 4th of July. And
I know already. Wow.
I know. Actually, it doesn't seem like a decade ago, does it? Sheesh. Think about it. Like kids in like high school and like going into college were like little tiny little kids when it happened.
Yeah.
It's insanity. Like,
it's been only 7 years.
Oh my God. Anyway, he was asked about potentially joining the Giants. I think probably obviously because he's mentioned himself publicly before, and he said, "I think that'd be dope, tremendous to go back where my career started. The fans know me and know the type of player that I am. I'll always be that type of player and just give them everything I got, which I know it'll be more than enough." Guys, like, again, I respect everything JPP did for the Giants. Truly do. The guy was a great player. If he had stuck around and not been traded, which again I've said multiple times, he should never have been traded. But if we'd kept him around, he probably would eventually go into the Ring of Honor. We don't need him. No one needed him last year. Like, him to say, just give them everything I got, which I know it'll be more than enough. It won't be enough, clearly, because somebody would have picked your butt up last year.
Yeah.
It's over, and I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. I just feel like he doesn't quite understand that. Like, he had a very long career, by the way, guys. It's not like he like lost it all of a sudden and like 5 years into his career and you go, oh, what the hell? How's this happening? He's 36.
Yeah, he's pushing way past his prime right now.
Yeah, like it's like I said, it's done. If you go back to what he did, he played for 2 teams in 23, 3 games, 2 tackles, not a single sack, not a single QB hit, not anything. If he wants to come back to the Giants, sure, come back for one day to retire as a Giant. That's where it's got to be. You know, he literally hasn't been himself since 2020. Because again, age just finally got to him there. You know, he had a little bit of a run there with the Bucks, including getting a Super Bowl. Obviously, you know, he's got now 2 Super Bowl rings in his career. He's got 3 Pro Bowls. He's got a 1 first team All Pro. You know, I just feel like it's sad when sometimes when players don't realize it's over. And it's not because like it's not sad because like you look at the memories and what you had and stuff. It's more like I don't want them to diminish what they were. It's kind of like for us, like I remember growing up always hearing about Willie Mays stumbling around Shea Stadium.
Yeah.
Like that was the end of his career. He probably should have retired. He kept on playing. And I've said on a record multiple times, players should be able to decide when it's time to hang up the cleats. Like they've earned that right. Sometimes you don't get to decide that. And sometimes the NFL decides it for you.
Yeah. Sadly, sometimes not just the NFL, but it's like the ownerships of the team. Because like if you can't produce what you did, I mean, he's like I said, 36. If you can't do what you did 15 years ago,
yeah.
Like this is an elite league. Like you have to be a top performer. And mother time, father time, whatever you want to say, isn't fair to everyone. 36 is a long time to be playing on defense.
It is. I mean, and he ends it with, if assuming this is the end, 94.5 sacks. That's a hell of a lot of sacks. It's like I said, damn good career overall, but it's just time. Like I said, it's just neither one of them, him or OBJ, seem to realize their time is up.
Yeah.
And both of them, I would love them both to come on one day and sign a one-day contract with the Giants, end their careers with the respect they deserve and a proper send-off. Because it's time for both of them. No more embarrassing yourself. It's like it's beneath them at this point to beg for a job, and that's what they're doing, both of them.
Yeah.
OBJ's posted on Instagram. JPP is talking to anybody who'll listen about wanting to come back. Like,
hire me. Look over. At me, I'm right here.
It's over. Like, you got too much legacy to be a guy walking around with a suit and a stack of resumes.
Yeah, and that's it too. Like, you had such a great career. You're going to tarnish your legacy by putting up terrible numbers at this point in your career.
But not even numbers, because nobody wants him. Nobody wanted him last year. Again, 23. He played in 3 games. Or as he says, 3 games.
My strong hand.
I'm just like, that's the NFL has already told you that you're not good enough anymore. His last year starting was 2022. He played in 14 games, started 13, had 3 sacks. That's it. 26 tackles. That's it. Like he was done years ago. Again, it's sometimes it hits you and it goes way fast. And that's what I think just happened to him. And players, sometimes get a chance to try it a couple of times to prove otherwise. Because of legacy, he's had those chances. He's been now on since this is, I'll just say the first 3 years, 21 to 23. Okay, he was with 4 teams. The NFL has spoken.
You, sir, have been spoken. You've been voted off the island.
Like I said, congrats on a great career to him. I mean, JPP again deserves all the respect for what he did as a Giant. That great 11 season, was literally easily could have won Defensive Player of the Year. And, again, great career, but just it's time. it's time to give it up and hang it up there. So
yeah.
Speaking of time, it's time to pay the bills.
Ooh, my favorite.
Thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the Goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
All righty. And then before we get started the next segment here, guys, we got to give a little shout out here to Jay, who, by the way, guys, I see the rest of y'all watching. Don't let Jay feel lonely in the chat.
Yeah.
Don't make him feel lonely. But got to give a special shout out to Jay, who bought 5 beers for us here over the 4th of July weekend. Thank you, man, very much for your support as always. Much appreciated, man. And he promised he mean today, and he's been living up to that hype. All right, let's get into the next topic here, because we got to talk about the MetLife Stadium. So MetLife Stadium has apparently been called iconic. I don't think I've ever heard it called iconic before, even by Giants fans. Even by Giants fans, we don't call it iconic. Fox Sports did a list of the top 10 most iconic NFL stadiums. MetLife made it to number 10. They said New Jersey's MetLife Stadium, which opened in 2010, replacing Giants Stadium, is home to both the Giants and the Jets. The multi-purpose stadium with a capacity over 82,500 is located at the Meadowlands Sports Complex, which is set to host the final of the 2026 FIFA World Cup just outside New York City. So it's iconic because it hosts soccer? Is that where we're at?
Listen, when you think of like iconics, not the environment of MetLife is not iconic, but what they've done, different things they've had there, is probably where they're getting this list from. Yeah, it's vanilla ice cream, but
it's boring.
It is boring. The aesthetic of MetLife is flat out dull. It has no pulse. Has no pulse.
If it was a paint, it'd be matte.
That's it. No color.
No shine.
White matte. No nothing.
No shine.
But
whoever.
They've had amazing concerts there, shows.
Yep.
Yeah, football there. They've had, FIFA's there, or the World Cup. Like that's iconic. Like at the end of the day, like as much as I don't want to say MetLife's iconic, but like if your stadium's hosting a world event, it's pretty notable.
I feel like though, to like be called an iconic NFL stadium, you need classic NFL moments, and we don't have a single one. I mean, what is it? The catch, was that even a home game? I can't remember off the top of my head. Like the OBJ catch against the Cowboys, the catch. Like I don't know if that was a home game. We've had literally one Giants postseason game in the entire time that stadium's been open. One at home. That was the 2011, the first round against the Falcons, Falcons.
The Falcons.
And then we won that one. So I guess that's iconic. We're undefeated at home in the playoffs. But I don't think the Jets have had a single one. Like there's nothing. Like I'm sorry. Do not call this iconic. When I'm going to give you what this stadium is known for. Tearing ACLs. Tearing ACLs. That's what the stadium is known for.
So much so that when FIFA World Cup goes there, they have to change the soil.
Well, they refuse to ever not play on grass. Kudos to them for having the balls to stand up to rich people.
Yeah.
Like, I wish the NFLPA did. Seriously. Because there's no excuse that we've talked about it plenty of times before. There's no reason the Giants can't have grass. You know. And Jason's no ACL tears, just list frank injuries last year. Yeah, that's better. like, there's literally players who won't come to the Giants or Jets because of the stadium and how bad the field is. That's how bad it is. Iconic.
Iconic for ACL.
You can't just call it iconic because of the fact that it's in New York or the New York area, because it's technically Jersey. I feel like that's the only reason it got on the list.
Well, I think it becomes an iconic stadium not because of football, because everything else it does.
But
I know because you're just thinking of football stadiums, and that's what they do. But most stadiums nowadays
top 10 iconic NFL stadium. You can't call it NFL stadium and not put the NFL portion into this.
Listen, all those stadiums also host different stuff, but do they host as much stuff as MetLife? Lincoln Financial.
Here, I'm gonna
right
get
there, but how many consciences does it hold compared to MetLife?
I'm gonna get you the whole list. So number 10 is us, obviously. Number 9, Lincoln Financial. The Eagles beat us again.
Damn it. I literally just used an example, not even looking. Damn it.
Number 8, Empower Field at Mile High. That's a pretty cool stadium, I hear, but it's just a massive stadium. Number 7, Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. Now, that one I'll give you because they've had a lot of cool things outside of football in that one. So that I'll give you. But the Saints themselves had home games plenty of times and stuff like that. You know? It's the biggest dome structure in the world, by the way.
Ooh.
So, yeah. And I've seen it in person. It's pretty big. I've never been inside, but I've seen it. The Steelers Stadium, which at Kreischer Stadium, is that what it's called now? It's still Heinz Field to me. And
Kreischer.
Yeah. Lumen Field for the Seahawks. Yes, that's known for the pump and the crowd noise and stuff like that. It's iconic. Yeah. Soldier Field in Chicago, number 4. Yes, history. That's a historic stadium. It's a cool looking stadium, by the way. Number 3, AT&T Stadium with Dallas, which I thought would be number 1. I really did. Like, listen, I hate the Cowboys, but Jerry did that stadium right. Number 2, Arrowhead Stadium. Okay. Definitely iconic. That's an iconic one. Number 1, Lambeau Field. So obviously you didn't do it based on non-NFL things. If Lambeau's number 1, I can't think of a damn thing that Lambeau Field's had besides the local, cheddar cheese 5K.
They do tours of Lambeau Field in history.
Everybody does that.
But apparently they go like crazy.
I'm just saying, everyone does that. I did the one at Wrigley when I was in Chicago. It was pretty cool.
Wrigley.
But, yeah, like I said, we don't – listen, I'll give people crap when they don't give us enough credit. But this is one scenario that we got too much credit. Absolutely too much. Let's see. Deb says, I was extremely disappointed with the new stadium. Nothing to brag about. I would have liked to see a dome stadium for one thing. I would have liked a dome stadium myself. But I personally would have gone for retractable.
Yes.
I think there's no reason that we couldn't have had a retractable roof. There's no reason we couldn't have had big, screens that were more visible as you're watching the field. Like, that's one thing that, screens became a big thing with the AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Obviously, when that was made, those are just the biggest screens I think ever made by man. But like when I went to the Atlanta one, they had a ring of stadium screens all around, right above the field, and it was really cool because you can see everything. You see the stats in the game, you can see fantasy scores, you see all that stuff as you're watching the game, and your eyes are on the field.
You gotta love it.
It's a cool experience. Like I said, things like that they could have done. Some kind of, something Giants history-wise would have been nice. And again, I got to share with the Jets, and the Jets don't have enough to fill a trophy case. But I mean, that's their fault, not ours. You could have two different things and put them side by side and let them do history of the Giants, history of the Jets. You could have done the stuff like that. There's something besides just put a whole bunch of seats in.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Whole bunch of seats.
Sell seats and sell tickets.
Exactly. Let's see. JL says brats, cheese, and beer. I don't see your criticism. I'm not criticizing the food of Lambeau Field. I'm just saying I can't think of one thing non-football related that was done at Lambeau Field. Yeah. And he says sharing a stadium is so lame, like sharing a room with a sibling.
It's like a stepsibling. Sibling.
I get it. But, here's my whole thing. When you got that much revenue coming in, because you have two NFL teams, along with everything else that's going on in the New York area, because we all know there's no big stadiums in New York City itself. MSG is really the biggest and only one there really is. Not going to get into the whole James Dolan trying to stop New York from building anything ever thing, but that's the conversation we can have another day. That being said, when you look at what's going on, and you look at what the product was on that, I wouldn't say on the field. The product is that's the actual field. They won't put in grass. They have nothing fancy at that point. There's no dome or anything on there to block sun, rain, anything. Yet you have two teams playing there. You're splitting a bill. There is no goddamn reason there couldn't have been something on that stadium to make it something special. I'm not saying put in like little swimming pools that they have in Jacksonville, which is pretty cool, by the way. I'm not saying, do something ridiculous like a pirate ship like Tampa Bay has. Also pretty cool, very loud. But
fantastic though.
It's loud. Don't sit near it if you ever go to a Tampa game. But like something, give it something. That would have been fun. Like I would have loved to see them do something in the end zone for like celebrating when the team scores. I don't know what you want to do for the Giants. Maybe for the Jets, you have like, actual rockets going up in the air, like actual planes, like fake ones, obviously, like not actual planes, I should say, but like, like LED lights coming up like planes or holograms or something. Give me something.
Yeah.
The Giants, it could have been some like screaming or something like that, like a giant scream, like Incredible Hulk or something. Give us something. That stadium is so goddamn bland. And the scary thing is, because you already built it and shoved so many seats in, you could even try to fix it right now if you wanted to. So, is what it is, I guess. That's what happens. We put up with mediocrity. Let's talk about someone who's not mediocre. Malik Nabers, who apparently, and it was a stat I never looked at before this came up, was a security blanket. Now, this is coming from PFF. They said last year's 6th overall pick saw 41 targets with his quarterback under duress last season, the most for a rookie receiver since 2020. Nabers and Ladd McConkey were the only rookies to be targeted more than 25 times in such situations. And Nabers also tied McConkey with 24 catches. He finished with 311 receiving yards, 16 first downs, and 4 touchdown catches. Nabers also ranked 8th in yards after the catch and yards after contact and generated the 4th best deep target rate in pressure situations. It's interesting. We talked about how like Malik Nabers was like the go-to guy. But it seems like not only is he the go-to guy, but he was the get me out of jail free card. And that's interesting because I didn't look at that part of it there. But what I thought was scary though was he tied McConkey with 24 catches in those scenarios. And Ladd McConkey had 25 of the scenarios. He had 41. So 24 of 41. Doesn't take a genius to figure out that is not the best catching percentage.
No.
Now, again, that's targeted. So I'm not blaming Nabers when I say that. I have to go back and look at those 41 throws to see how many of them were the quarterback's fault and how many were his fault. But
there's definitely a lot of them that were.
I'm sure some of them were nowhere near him, and that's when he was open.
Yeah.
Listen, I have no doubt that the quarterback was definitely at least part of the problem in this scenario. But it just that's kind of a scary situation. Like 25 scenarios, to get 24 catches or 41. Just a little bit difference in quarterback between the Chargers and the Giants last year. That's all. But yeah, like I said, good to see. And it's going to be interesting to see, what happens with that stat now with having veteran quarterbacks. Because again, love them or hate them, you're probably not going to see Jackson Dart to the end of the year. You're going to have Russell Wilson. You're going to have Jameis Winston potentially in there if Russell Wilson gets hurt or somehow does a crazy thing, beat him out. You're going to see that there's a difference in the veteran quarterback who's willing to take a pass rush, maybe take a hit, and a guy like DJ last year, who quite frankly was Patrick Ramsey, David Card, whatever term you want to use, where he's hearing ghosts and footsteps and weren't even there. A guy like DeVito, who quite frankly is barely an NFL quarterback, and a guy like Drew Lock, who is just a backup and should be a backup for a reason. His best play is holding a clipboard.
Until he plays the Colts.
Yeah, that game still confuses me. It is what it is, though. Listen, in the end, if that game had not, I want people to remember this about that game. If that game didn't go the way that it went, we would have probably had Cam Ward in our team. And if Cam Ward stinks and Abdul Carter's good, we might be thanking Drew Lock later on.
Touche.
Just saying, we might be. People assume that this is the bad scenario. It might have actually worked in our favor. So, but like I said, interesting stuff to look at with Nabers. I mean, Nabers, like I said, it's weird to have a rookie be the guy relied on like that. Usually there's like a veteran guy that you look to like that. And I'm also kind of curious to see where on that list that, Wan'Dale Robinson was. He was a guy that I felt like was always the check down guy. Again, we talked about 3.8 yards per, depth of field there for him. He's the guy that people would go, okay, well, we need someone to throw the ball to. Boop. So,
Dumping to go.
Hopefully we're nowhere near this topic next year. That'd be nice. So
yes, please.
Let's talk about the worst Super Bowl winners of the last 25 years, because apparently it's us. The Giants. And not only did we get last place, we got second to last place. Craziness. So Bleacher Report ranked all 25 Super Bowl winners of the last 25 years. The Giants, like I said, they literally got the bottom two spots. So number 25 went to the 2011 New York Giants. They said pros. Behind a legendary pass rush, they dethroned the Patriots for the second time in a 4-year span. Cons. They're the only team on this list with just 9 regular season wins and a negative scoring margin, -6. Despite that pass rush, only the 2018 Patriots gave up more yards per play, 5.62, and Jason Pierre-Paul was their only first-team All-Pro. Yeah, how about the fact that they freaking won the damn Super Bowl? Like, I don't understand why people feel the need to bring down these Giants teams. Like, okay, they got it together when they needed to. Who cares?
Yeah, got to be hot when it's right.
That's what matters. I don't know. I just feel like they look for any reason to poop on the Giants. Let's also not forget that Eli Manning literally set an NFL record that still stands right now of 1,219 passing yards in a single postseason that year. That doesn't go in the pro column, apparently.
I was say that doesn't go into the pros.
Yeah, that doesn't go in the pro at all. The 2007 Giants, like I said, they're 24th of the 25. Pros, they slayed the 18-0 Patriots in one of the biggest upsets in NFL history. First off, I will claim that it's the biggest upset in NFL history, only because of the meaning behind it. It was Super Bowl. It's the biggest upset in Super Bowl history, I think.
I think so.
Therefore, makes it the biggest in NFL history. Cons, they say there were only one win better than the 2011 team at 10-6, and their plus 22 regular season scoring margin ranks second to last among the 25 teams on the list. By the way, second to last to the other Giants team. I get part of the issues. Let's not be blind and go like that to it. Like, if they're there. They said they were also a horrendous 1-5 against teams with winning records, and they outscored their 4 playoff opponents by just 20 total points. They had just one Pro Bowler, Osi Umenyiora, and no first-team All-Pros. They beat an unbeatable team
that dominated over the rest of the NFL.
Literally, they beat the unbeatable team, and now you want to poop on them. Like, if the Patriots won that game, let's just throw that for a second here. Like, what if? Going into more comic stuff. What if?
But season 3 of What If?
If the Giants didn't win that game, okay, let's say David Tyree doesn't catch that ball against his helmet, okay, game's over, Giants lost. That 07 Patriots goes down as the best team in the history of the NFL. Bar none. The best team ever. Like, it's not even a conversation. 18-0, winning in the Super Bowl, all those things. There is no doubt. Only the second undefeated team in the Super Bowl era. There's no doubt that they are, at that point, the best team in the history of the NFL. Yet the Giants beat them. But apparently we're the second worst team to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Is that the case? Where are these Patriots teams? Because we beat them twice.
Like, you have to be terrible to beat the best team on paper.
Yeah. Like, every single one of those Patriots wins was above us, by the way, that means. And we beat that same team twice.
Yeah.
Twice. Like, I love it. Like, oh, they just lucked out and they won. They lucked out twice.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. One, you're gonna like, okay, any given Sunday kind of scenario. Was it any given Sundays? Like,
yeah. Any given Super Bowl?
Yeah. Like, at what point do we give this team some kudos for what they did? Like, they got hot at the right time. They set NFL records. They went out and made the best quarterback in football history hear footsteps, point blank, that weren't even there. Like, they literally figured out the snap count. Like, OC point blank said, I think it was OC. Was it OC or Justin Tucker? I think it was OC. Said they figured out his snap count and knew when to rush him based on that. Like, they beat the best quarterback in the history of the NFL, but they're not so good. I'm done with the media like pooping on this team. I get it. Like, we're not great the last couple of years. Like, I get it. I really do. Like, trust me. If anybody feels the pain of that, it's Rob and I. Not the guys writing articles and stuff like that and saying this kind of BS. We understand it. Y'all listening, y'all understand it. Because you're listening, watching, whatever. I got to assume you're a Giants fan. If not, you're just a glutton for punishment here. But this team deserves some credit. What they did in both those Super Bowls. I don't give a damn what happened. They could have gone to 1-15. I mean, obviously they wouldn't have gotten the playoffs then. But I'm just saying hypothetically. They could be the worst team to ever get in the playoffs. If they won the Super Bowl, then they got hot at the right time, and that's all that matters. I'm going to judge them based on what they did in the postseason. I'm going to judge them off the snotsicles coming out of Tom Coughlin's nose as he's, they're battling the Patriots in like ridiculously cold weather. I'm gonna judge them when they're beating the poop out of the Cowboys that year, who were at the time considered the best team in the NFC. Destroying the Falcons, destroying the Buccaneers. Like, give a little goddamn credit. Absolute insanity. All right. I'm going to get off my high horse now.
Yeah, that's it.
It's very high up here. Very high.
You already told us it is.
I know. I need to stop this. Let's talk about more media pooping on the Giants here. Offensive line now getting crapped on. So PFF's been doing their rankings of the best, at every position, and really ranking all 32 teams, I should say, on every position. And they went through the offensive line now. The Giants got ranked 28th out of 32. Now, I get it. We ain't top 10, guys. Let's be very frank. We are not top 10. We're probably not even top 15. Just calling like it is. Being honest about it. But they underestimated us just a lot.
Just a smidge a lot.
Yeah. They said the only thing keeping the Giants' offensive line from sinking further down this list is left tackle Andrew Thomas, who ranked third amongst offensive tackles in 2022 with a 90.3 PFF overall grade and has posted 75-plus marks in each of the last 4 years. However, the former Georgia player logged fewer than 1,000 snaps over the last 2 seasons. If he could stay in the field in 2025, New York might end up with the worst offensive line in the league. Now, on paper, you understand a little bit what they're saying. Okay, you lost your best offensive lineman 2 years in a row. How am I to trust he's going to be healthy? Listen, none of us are trusting it. We're hoping, we're not trusting it. Here's the issue I have, guys. At the end of last year, the Giants were ranked 24th by PFF. 24th. Now, we had a shoestring offensive line for much of the year because not just Andrew Thomas, JMS, John Runyan, all these guys were all getting hurt. How is it we dropped down 2 spots? Drop down 2 spots with the same exact starting lineup, by the way, guys. And better backups.
I would say more depth.
Like, I don't care who it is that makes this roster. It's better than we had last year. Because now we had Greg Van Roten actually play center, who played obviously backup center, so we know he can back up there. We got Evan Neal at his natural position. You know, we have a couple of guys. I'm not a big fan of per se a swing tackle, but at least they actually are tackles. We're not trying to convert guards. We're not getting guys off the streets.
Yeah. Pew pew.
If you think that what we did this offseason means that we should go down 2 spots, that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And like I said, to me, it's getting to the point where the media just is like, yep, the Giants suck. Let's rank them low for every goddamn thing.
Yeah. Let's just kick them while they're down.
Yeah. Like, keep it realistic. Like I said, put them around like 20. I'd have been fine with that. I've been perfectly fine with that. And Jason, we didn't do anything. We did do something. We added backups. We added reserves. And everybody got healthy over the offseason. Whether they stay that way, we'll find out. But they're healthy right now. But again, even if we did nothing, we were 24th last year. How are we going down spots? It's insanity. Like I said, PFF hates us.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I've decided that. Decision made. All right, one last segment here. So we had the tight end university there a little while ago there. And Thomas Fedone, the 7th-round rookie tight end that we got from Nebraska, was on the local news station there, KETV in Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha.
Moo. I don't know, whatever they're saying there in Omaha, Nebraska. What do they do? I don't know. What's that? Is it corn? Nebraska's not corn? No,
yeah,
it's
Nebraska.
Iowa. I don't know.
I think both.
Yeah, corn huskers, right? They're corn huskers. So yeah, corn. And the corn doesn't make a noise. We can't really. Yeah. What does the corn say? Anyway.
Huskas.
They it's KETV in Omaha, number 6, channel 7. He was interviewed about tight end university. He said, I got some pretty cool compliments from Kelsey just out of the blue, which was pretty cool. He told me I was extremely athletic and moved extremely well. He told me that my timing routes were really good. Just being able to hear that from him was cool. Then he said, I thought it was awesome being able to just connect and make connections with all the guys around there, being able to meet with the guys, work out with them, go get different input from everyone, and kind of see how they do things differently. Each tight end is different and has different skill sets and strong suits. So it's fun to be able to learn from them. So let me get this out of the way here, because I don't want to be like negative the entire time. And I'm going to be a little negative here, guys. Fair warning. It's a great thing they do, tight end university. I'm going to be very clear on that. Very good thing. It's a very difficult position because you got to do everything. You got to catch, you got to block, you got to do it all. You know, and not a lot of teams know how to develop or teach the position. Let's be very frank in that. We've seen many people fail that were high prospects and all because the NFL does not know how to teach that position properly. It's also changing position. That doesn't help. But
constantly changing.
Exactly. That being said, of course Kelsey gave him cool compliments. I'm sure Kelsey went up to everybody and gave compliments. Like Kelsey was really, really big on Bellinger a couple of years ago. That's worked out well. You know, I'm just saying, like, that's where we're at here. As No Name says, hey, Flavor Flav and Magnum PI, how you guys doing? Boy. Wait, Chad Higgins will come for you. But I think that Kelsey is like, you know, Kelsey obviously is one of the hosts of this whole thing. It's him and Kittle and Greg Olson, right? I think started it. Remember, right? So, yeah, this, you know what hosts do? They go around and chit chat and say nice things to everybody. You do it for every major thing. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, everything. You're the host. You walk around, you say hi to everybody, you say something nice, even if you don't mean it. It's what we all do. You know. Thanks for coming.
Part of the job.
It's like when you listen. I'm going to give this comparison. I'm not going to name any names, but it's like when you have a wedding and somebody's really bad at dancing and won't stop dancing no matter what. Like, yep, wouldn't have been the same without you. Good job. Glad you were here. Like, that's what it's like.
You were all over the dance floor.
Now, Kelsey might actually like his game. I don't know. I'm just saying that I'm sure, because let's be honest, we get into the psychology of things here. Travis Kelsey loves to be loved. Travis Kelsey, point blank, nothing he loves more than himself and people who love him. Like, I'm going to call it like it is. I never met the man personally. He's not a friend of the show or anything. Like, I know Jay likes to say name drop. I'm not name dropping. I don't know the guy. I feel like from everything I've seen of him, that he is an egomaniac. I've always said that on the show. I have no problem saying that. It's just the vibe I get from him. And my vibes are usually correct. Done way too many years of sales and stuff like that where I could read people pretty decent. I just find that he's the guy who wants everybody to like him. And because of that, it's why he is the guy that probably also goes around to everybody at this tight end university. Thank you for coming. You look so good out there, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to buy it. Yeah. Especially when it's coming third person from Fedoni himself. If Travis Kelsey felt the need to go in front of like the cameras and like, hey guys, had a great tight end university here.
He loved me.
Taylor Swift played for the guys because she did actually do a show for the people at the tight end university, by the way, at one of the bars. You know, and some great guys, blah blah blah, look good, blah blah blah, good. And the kid Fedoni really surprised us all, look really good. If he says something like that, then okay, that's legit now. You went out of your way to include this guy. But compliments in passing that you had to pass on yourself that someone gave you? We're really reaching here.
So that's very, very straightforward news. I guess that's great news.
Yeah. I'm just saying that. Then Jay says JJ Watt was like that too. I didn't feel like I got to know JJ Watt, the off the field person, as much as the player. Maybe because Houston's a boring city and nobody actually will follow the Texans. But I can't say on that. And then he says, but you're all in on a Russ and your barometer for inauthentic fake people, LOL. No, listen, Russell Wilson is fake as hell.
Drew's been saying that for a while.
We've said that from the get-go. Jay, you should know that of all people. But he's a hell of a lot better than DJ. And we have set the bar that low. We just want improvement.
Just a little bit better play, please.
So, exactly. All righty, guys. That's going to call it a day for us here. We'll be back again for you guys Wednesday, of course, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Maybe we'll mix it up and Rob will wear a random T-shirt and I'll wear a Hawaiian flowery shirt. You never know. You never know. I could do it. I have a couple, actually. Anyway, as always, we are live on YouTube, which is, of course, the preferred platform, Facebook, X/Twitter, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. And, of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms. It's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the fun ones there. As always, guys, if you haven't already, again, do me a favor. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button, hit that thumbs up on YouTube, guys. Little stuff like that really does a big thing to help, people. It really does. And of course, you could do like Jay just said in the comments section that he just left a 5-star review for us on Apple Podcasts because one person, as he put it, gave a very nasty message about Rob's Italian accent not being very authentic. Oh my gosh, it's craziness. Let me see. Is it there? Let's see. I'm gonna see if Jay is there. Let's see. I'm looking for it, Jay. I don't see it. I just see the one with that. By the way, I should say the guy who said that he didn't like your accent said Drew is very good.
Rob, he sounds like an idiot.
Oh my gosh, that's just funny. No Name says just don't switch your partners at home. LOL. We can't do that. My wife is his cousin.
Yeah,
even here in Florida, that's breaking laws. Oh my gosh. Anyway, guys, we'll see you guys again Wednesday night. Appreciate you watching as always, Giant fans. And as always,
go G-Man! Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.